Like a wild wind, the Sars protesters take to the streets of Abuja, demanding the scrapping of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad. The protesters also occupied the Lagos State House of Assembly, insisting that their demands must be met. From Ogun to Kaduna and other parts of the country, the request is the same.
What do you want? What do you want it now? What do you want? What do you want it now?
The Special Anti-Robbery Squad came into being in 1992. It was established by former police commissioner Simeon Danladi Medenda. The major reason for its formation was when a Nigerian army colonel was allegedly killed by police officers at a checkpoint in Lagos. Due to the existence of an already established anti-robbery squad, which was operational at that time, Mr. Medenda distinguished his team from the already existing squad and named his Special Anti-Robbery Squad SARS. By 2009, after several years of operations, the squad grew in number and strength. Owing to the surge in the numbers of internet fraudsters and cultism in universities, SARS operatives infiltrated Nigerian universities, made several successful arrests, but in the process harassed innocent youth. Following several reports of human rights violation by members of the public to the office of the then Inspector General of Police Solomon Arase, he announced the splitting of SARS into two units on the 7th of August 2015, operational and investigation units to curtail cases of human rights violation. On the 14th of August 2018, the then acting president of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, ordered with immediate effect the overhaul of the controversial police unit following reports of human rights violation. This soon led to the IGP renaming SARS to Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad. A new head of the unit was appointed and human rights desk officers to monitor reports were also selected. However, on the 21st of January 2019, IGP Mohammed Adamu ordered the immediate decentralization of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, which hitherto operated from the force headquarters in Abuja since inception. He also stated that the DIG, Force Criminal Investigations Department, and commissioners of police in each state would be held accountable for actions of the SARS. On the 21st of August 2019, 4 SARS operatives were arrested and charged with murder after being caught on camera manhandling and then shooting to death 2 suspected phone thieves in broad daylight. Although the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has announced the disbandment of SARS, the end-SARS protesters may be demanding the reformation of the police force.
Well, one can say there's been one conclusion, but this conclusion opens another vista altogether. So where do we go from here? There are also questions that, okay, so IGP had initially announced that the SARS, IRT, and STS be banned. But then the disbandment is only for SARS. What happens to STS? What happens to IRT? And a number of other units that may have been problematic as far as people are concerned. By the way, they're all in the police, right? So what happens to the police? Well, these and several other issues we want to raise this morning with former DIG operations of the Nigeria Police, Joshua Kabila. He joins us in our studio in Abuja, as well as security expert Alfred Ononugbo and the senior advocate of Nigeria, John Odubela. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us this morning. Let me start with you, Mr. Habila. Is there any historical antecedent to us ever getting to this point where units or formation of the police was disbanded for such acts as SARS had been accused of by the people?
Yes, it is true that some of the issues that are on ground and they're happening has informed the Inspector General of Police to take this harsh decision of disbanding the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, so as to look into exactly some of the infractions and to also take an assessment. Oftentimes we do that, but sometimes not in the public glare. This one has happened, and it's not one of the first decisions to be taken, but that decision was taken so as to address the infractions and to, of course, stress direction and to know exactly what is to be done.
Just to be clear, did you say the harsh decision? I just need to get the context. Did you say this harsh decision, and why do you think it's harsh? Do you think there could have been a softer decision about this?
No, if issues had not cropped up, I'm sure the Inspector General of Police would have loved to look into what exactly has happened and to see those of them that have been making, because there has been a lot of achievement in terms of combat of crime. Some of them that have been what we call, they've already imbibed, this culture of not fearing and finding solution to some of this crime like armed robbery, kidnapping, and cultism. This time around, all of them has been swept off, and I think that is in response to the demand of the Nigerians that the police served.
Well, Mr. Nanugo, let me take you up on this one. For you, what is the implication of the disbandment of Sars? Of course, we all know that even before the advent of Sars, every police command had their own anti-robbery squads before the special anti-robbery came up in 1992 or thereabout. So what for you is the implication of the disbandment of Sars?
Well, good morning, and good morning to Nigerians. First, let me condole with the families of those who lost their family members, their loved ones, whether they were policemen or Nigerian citizens that were victims of this entire situation. My take is simple. The disbandment of Sars does not answer to the problems of the Nigerian police force. While I commend the IG for the boldness and the political will to take that decision, it could just be one step in the right direction, but a lot more, so much more needs to be done. The problem of the Nigerian police is not SARS. It's a fundamental problem. By the way, the word police is an abbreviation. The word police simply means public officers for legitimate investigations and criminal emergencies. Their total existence is designed to ensure the enforcement of law and order, and also to mitigate the activities of criminals, apprehend them, and prosecute them to get them appropriately disciplined by the justice administration system for whatever offenses such individuals must have committed. So disbanding SARS, yes, I think it answers to the agitations of those that are involved in the End SARS Now protest, but it's far from addressing the actual challenges that is bedeviling the Nigerian police force. It's both internal and external. It's in the rank and file, and it cuts across the values and moral leanings of the police service.
Well, that definition of the word police which you give is quite new to me. I mean, I thought it was from a Latin word metamorphosed into French. But I mean, that perspective also paints a picture of what the police should be ideally. But let's turn to Senior Advocate of Nigeria, John Odubela. Well, you interface with the police, especially because they are meant to be law enforcement agents. And seeing this protest, the response by the IGP, and the fact that the protesters say, we're not done yet, what do you make of it? Well, that's for the Senior Advocate of Nigeria, John Odubela, please.
Hello.
Yes,
Good
please go
morning.
ahead. Good morning.
Yes, can you hear me? Because
Oh,
I can't hear
yes.
you well.
Loud and clear. I'll just go over that question again. I know you interface with
Okay.
police, being the law enforcement agent, and of course, you also are part of a pillar of the judiciary as a whole in the country. Seeing the protests over the past couple of days, the response by the IGP, of course, the disbandment, and the fact that the protesters are saying, that's not what we want more. What do you make of all this together?
Yes, good morning, Kayode. Good morning, Ayu and the
Good morning.
viewers. Yes, I think we must, first of all, appreciate the government, particularly the Nigerian police force, at least for yearning to the will of the people at this time. And I also feel that the people also need to, at least for now, to wait to see what will come from the management of the Nigerian police force. Because I know quite well that for people to have been, going through all these demonstrations in the past few days showed clearly that people were already moved and pushed to the wall. And it now got to a time when they could no longer tolerate all these oppressions and what have you. And that is why they took it upon themselves that, well, it is time to let the whole world and even everybody know that the operations of SARS, at least in this time, has not been good, and that people are being killed, people are being oppressed, they are being dehumanized, and so on and so forth. So I would appeal to both the government, the Inspector General of Police, and the management, and that it's not even enough to say you are disbanding the SARS, because I also believe that they're also thinking of bringing in another form of maybe operations that will take care of what SARS have been doing. But I think beyond that, the police need to do a lot of training, a lot of public enlightenment, and then there's a need also for them to monitor. Even if they come out with another name or whatever nomenclature they may call it, I think people they need to also enlighten people. They need to monitor their activities, because I think it is when it is left unattended to that is they now turn to a different different things. And I want to also appeal to Nigerians too that we should give the police another chance, because of course we know that their duty is to protect our lives and our property. So we also need to give them another opportunity.
Mr. Odubela,
Let's see
just one
what
moment.
they,
Just one moment. When you say that there is need for more monitoring, I'm wondering, well, just to be clear, what exactly are you saying? Are you suggesting that maybe the police authorities had been negligent of their duties and consequently allowing these officers to run riot on the citizens over the years? Is that what you're saying?
yes, you know when you set up an operations like SARS, I believe that there's a need to monitor the activities. You know, this is not the first time people have been complaining. And I want to believe that if the authorities have been proactive enough to monitor the activities, where you have complaints, you investigate, and you come out with a report that is very satisfactory, at least to the people, I'm sure they will not go to the extent of now asking for total disbandment of SARS. So I think even if they form another monitoring team, or another maybe SARS, or may not be given a name as SARS, any other form of operations, there is a need for the police to monitor the activities.
All right.
And listen to the complaints of the people, and then come back to look for the best way that can improve their operations. I think is major.
Right. Okay, Mr. Abila, now, the statement that was put out by the police, the IGP, says that a new policing arrangement will be announced in due time, especially because a gap has been created, according to that statement, with this disbandment, the dissolution of Sars. And for a lot of people, they thought, wait a minute. So the same men from Sars will probably be redeployed into the new arrangement. So it is still the same men, but a different name entirely. So is that thinking right? Is that the possibility of what will happen? Or what do we need to do to ensure that this new arrangement is not just the same old arrangement with a different name?
No, the members of the public should be able to buy the Inspector General of Police into confidence and the Nigerian police. And I'm very optimistic that the Inspector General of Police is going to do a lot of things different. He has promised, apart from the fact that the SARS have been disbanded for now, he has also said that he was going to confer a meeting comprising of members of the public, including those of them that are stakeholders, so that they will chart the way forward. I think that is good enough. And he didn't just stop at that. He said he was also going to ensure that appropriate sanctions are brought on those who have violated people's rights and those of them that have converted the powers they have, protecting members of the public into dealing with members of the public. And the way to go should be with some of these things that he has mentioned.
Well, Mr. Abila, just a quick follow-up on that. Earlier, of course, you said it was a harsh decision. Well, harsh on who, some might also be asking you. But then the fact that the same men are going to be redeployed into other units to perform similar activities as policing in the country, it could still be the same men doing the same things to the same people that asked them to be removed from operating the way they were operating before. So how can the people, the public, have confidence in the police when the same men that put the pressure, so to speak, on them, dehumanize them, as Mr. Odubel has said earlier, are now going to be operating in a completely different guise other than SARS? How can the people have confidence in the police that way?
No, it will not be very fair to the Inspector General of Police and the Nigerian police. I am not defending the Nigerian police. It will not be fair to conclude that the Inspector General of Police is going to use the same people. We have quite a lot of police officers that have been trained. You know, courage is not taught. Courage is acquired. And he's going to get a lot of those of them that have also had opportunity to fight beyond criminalities like kidnapping, criminalities like armed robbery, bank armed robbery, and all of that. We have a lot of reserve police officers, particularly in the police mobile force, that could confront the armed robbers and all those people that involve in that kind of crime. We also have the counter-terrorism unit, and we have quite a lot of police officers that have been trained to be very, very courageous, because courageous is acquired, is not taught. And so I wouldn't believe that the Inspector General of Police is just going to clean up those of them that are right here being accused of violating people's right to come back in the new profile. I don't think that will be so. And so I think the Inspector General of Police has spaced the way. We should collaborate with him. We should look at what he's doing. We should contribute and make sure that the people that are to take this responsibility of combating this crime that has to do with people and killing and what have you, collaborate with him. And I can assure you that there will be a change. I don't think the Inspector General of Police is going to clean those guys and ask them to come back in disguise. No, I don't think so.
Well, speaking of collaboration, Mr. Ononibo, I mean, the police should set up this interface between members of public, stakeholders, to chart a new course such that we don't have a repetition of what happened with SARS. So as a citizen, as a stakeholder, a security expert, what kind of arrangement, new arrangement, do you want to see? what kind of men do you want to see in that new arrangement?
Thank you very much. First of all, my background is forensics, and I'm a criminal intelligence expert. Listen, the process that brings people into the police service is not different from what takes people into the civil service or the fire service. I think there's a fundamental challenge we have, and these things are moral. We are getting these policemen from within our values, our society. You do not expect them to change because you change their names. We have to address the fundamental issues that is affecting us as Nigerians. And also, the police should partner with the public. Nigerians should own the police. The police shouldn't own Nigerians.
To get value from what you're saying, Mr. Ononugbo, when you say we need to address the fundamental issues, could you please mention that? What are these fundamental issues? Very quickly.
I'll give you, for instance, 99% of people who find themselves in the police service have never been captured in a criminal database prior to their joining the police. Peradventure, there had been offenders, first offenders, or offenders of whatever categories. So we need to, first of all, look at equipping the police to be able to carry out their fundamental roles. We must profile people. We must have a database, criminal database. It is from this same society that you take people. And many times people forge documents, they change their status to be able to get a job. It's about getting jobs that can give you money. We are not driven by service delivery. So we need to profile or create a database that is available to the police service on all Nigerians. We have the national ID card, we have the BVN. These things must be put together and put at the disposal of the Nigerian police, so that when a criminal moves from Kano and goes to Jigawa and he wants to join the police as a Nigerian citizen, we check his background. The criminal records unit in the Nigerian police is not digitalized or is not functioning at its optimum. The poverty level in our country is so high. So police is unduly challenged. They don't have enough manpower. They need to have effective technology that can complement their shortfalls in
Mr.
manpower.
Ononugbo, you are aware that under the Deputy Inspector General of Police Force for Criminal Intelligence and Investigation Department, there is such a unit as the Central Criminal Registry. I'm sure you're aware of that. Are you saying that?
I'm very much aware of that, and I relate to them.
Okay, and so...
But when you go into that system, you will find out they have challenges. Now, I'm not going to use this to put the police to the laundry. Just like I said, every other system. It's not just the police. I would like to limit this discussion to this police issue. But look at the politicians. The things that we are seeing is not what Nigerians are expecting. So we need to do a proper record checks. Let's not just give people responsibilities they are not qualified for. That's one. Two, the welfare system. An average policeman is underpaid. They are the most underpaid people in this country. I'm not justifying the compromise and abuse by some elements that found themselves in the police service. There are those in the police that collect their salaries and they are responsibly living within the provisions of the law. But the challenge is that there is so much corruption and abuse of public offices, even within the high ranks in the police. Some of them are serviced by, resources from illegitimate sources. So they are benefiting from this rot, and they cannot rise to correct or challenge any indiscipline in the system because they themselves are beneficiaries. So we need to look at that.
Mr. Ononugbo, just one moment. Can you confirm again which people you say are benefiting from this rot, and do you have evidence to the effect?
Well, when you talk of evidence, you are calling for something serious. But the truth is that within the system, it's a known fact that there are people in the police service that benefit from indiscipline in the police service. If they don't, indiscipline will never be tolerated.
Right.
The third thing I also wanted to point out is that I think we must bring back Nigeria to where patriotism drives our willingness to engage or be engaged in a service. It shouldn't be business everywhere. You walk into a police station and you find out that some police officers sleep just behind the counter to find a space to do their job and earn their living. Some of them are put in such a dehumanizing situation that they can't even process intelligence. They can't
Right.
process information.
Right, Mr. Onanubo,
So
I mean, you have brought up the
addressed.
issue of welfare, which is really important. I mean, everybody, I believe, realizes that fact. But Mr. Dubella, he spoke about Nigerians owning the police. That's, Mr. Onanubo spoke about Nigerians owning the police. He mentioned some salient points. And for these protesters, Nigerian youths, I should say, who are saying they are tired of this, they say that we want prosecution. They say it's not just disbanding SARS, well, previously banning, now disbanding and saying a new arrangement will be announced. What about prosecution? And the question is, I mean, how hard is it to
Well, I think it's not anything difficult. I think the first thing is for the police authority to identify the culprits. Once you are able to identify them, I think the procedure, first of all, is that they will give them internal issue first. They will, and then thereafter, they will charge them to court after the investigations. So prosecution, I don't believe is difficult. Once you are able to identify those that have gone beyond their duties, that they've committed crime, first of all, maybe you give them orderly trial, after which you bring them now to the public for trial. So the people calling for trial of those culprits, for me, they are not asking for too much. In fact, in a normal situation, that's what should happen. No matter how highly placed the person is in the hierarchy of the police, once a crime has been committed, when you have done things contrary to the Nigerian laws, the police should bring you to the book. You should face the consequences. So I agree with the people asking that beyond disbandment, how about those that have committed those offenses?
Okay. Well, Mr. Dubella, just one moment. There's still a little bit more to say on this particular issue because a number of people are saying it will be wonderful if that can happen so that at least the people, the victims, can heal. But we'll get into more of that and a few other issues to conclude on that matter when we come back from this break. Please stay with us. Still on this matter, Mr. Dubella, you know, one of 5 things that the IG said during the dissolution, the announcement of that dissolution, is that there is going to be a citizens and strategic stakeholders forum to provide an avenue for citizens to regularly interface and advise the police authority on issues touching on the general public. But, you know, part of what you also said the other time is the need for some investigation of the people that existed or operated in those units over time. What should the police authorities do now? Because, I mean, just as you also, you know, inundated the other time, a number of people have little trust in the police. As far as they are concerned, the policeman is a member of SARS. Meanwhile, from what some people have told us, SARS is supposed to be faceless. So to buy back trust, so to speak, what should the police be doing now?
Yes, thank you very much. I think the first thing is that there must be stakeholders meeting. The police must engage the youth, must engage maybe all the professionals. They must engage them. They must find out what are the complaints of the people against us. What are those things that they are doing that we believe that are not right? So when we begin to look at those things, so that police will now know that whatever they are going to come out with at the end of the day, it must be such that will be acceptable to the people. Because for what people are saying, their complaint that SARS have been doing, and what they've gone in the hands of SARS, I think if you're going to bring another operations like SARS, or that would do similar work like that, you need to engage the people. You must bring back those trusts that, look, this one that we are creating now, they will be very civil. They will ensure that they go through the normal procedures. They will not dehumanize people. They will not breach people's rights. They will do the right things. And that if you have complaint immediately, you also have to look for those that will monitor their activities and ensure that they are not going beyond the assignment. Because you say power corrupts. And the moment you don't have checks and balances, people begin to do what they like because they believe that there's nobody who is looking at them. There is nobody who is monitoring them. So at the end of the day, they will now get to a stage where people have lost confidence, people have lost trust, and that everything that people now want is that, look, this SARS or this group must go because they can't find anything good in them.
Well, speaking of building trust, I think one thing that will be important for a lot of people is to see how this new arrangement will work. And Mr. Abila, you have an understanding into the workings of the police, at least while you were there. And for a lot of people, they were wondering, what was the criteria in the first place, or what were the criteria for recruiting men into SARS? Because they wonder, maybe this is something we should look at in future, so we have less issues. In fact, maybe no issues at all like we had with SARS. So what were the criteria for SARS, and what should be the criteria moving forward?
Okay, thank you so much. I want to inform us that the Special Anti-Robbery Squad is just a unit. It's just a small fraction of not just the Nigerian police, but men under the Force Criminal Investigation Department, just a very small fraction of the Nigerian police. And these people are carefully selected, so to say, those that have the knowledge of investigation, looking out for how each of these cases, ranging from kidnapping to armed robbery, how to get intelligence, and how to collaborate with members of the public, because it still goes to the members of the public.
But Mr. Abila, just one moment.
This group of people are just a minor section.
When you say, just one moment, Mr. Abila. When you say carefully selected, questions are, a lot right there, because from reports that we have read and information that's available in public space, the original members of SARS were faceless. But now, members of SARS wear T-shirts that read SARS and all of that. So when you say carefully selected, there are those who also believe that the original concept of SARS has been corrupted.
Yes, I agree with you, and that's why this action is being taken. Quite a number of them, from what we've seen now, have keyed out. They are being accused of extortion. They are also being accused of abusing people's rights. They are also being accused of carrying out activities that is completely in defense of the Nigerian police and expected of them. And so that is why we've agreed that they've stepped their bounds. And the Inspector General of Police is said he's going to disband those people. and that he's going to convene a stakeholders meeting for members of the public and stakeholders arrive at how they could have another outfit that will be dedicated to checkmating bank robbery, checkmating armed robbery, kidnapping, and all those kind of crime that just suddenly crop up. Because like I told you, members of the public must try to cultivate confidence into the community where they live, confidence of the police.
All right.
Otherwise, the police is not everywhere. It is members of the public.
All right. Well, Mr.
that
Ononugo,
do volunteer information. Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Well, let me ask Mr. Ononugo. Well, this conversation is most certainly endless, but we have to cut it down here. But before we let you go, I'd like to ask you this: for those who are saying that, look, maybe this is a good time for us to begin to talk about localizing our policing in the light of this, because this particular issue is something, it's just spontaneous. It wasn't like it was planned. You know, the protest happened simultaneously and spontaneously all over the nation. So what do you say to those who are calling for localizing policing of the various communities, given that crime or criminality is local? Mr. Ononugo, can you hear me?
Okay, yes. Just quickly, it serves two purposes. One, it will help police in identifying and investigating the activities of criminals, but it will also infringe on the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, providing the platform for the Nigerian police force. The constitutional role of the Nigerian police is to deal with the issues of public safety and, of course, enforcement of the law. Now, today, the people in the Nigerian police are from all states of Nigeria. They are from communities and local governments. So why don't we look at a structure that can accommodate these people in the areas that they know the terrain and they understand the people? That's one. Secondly, the world have moved digital. I'm speaking to you from my office in Lagos. The DIG, most respected DIG Kabila, is speaking from Abuja, and the son, the erudite son, is speaking from another location, and we are communicating. The Nigerian police system must provide effective communication tools that meet the digital age for the policemen. Two, profiling vehicles of the Nigerian police do not have capability of confirming or verifying information on persons.
All right.
So we need to look at providing them a technology that can help them minimize the manual stress and labor that goes into policing the country.
Well, Mr. Ononugo, it's quite a lot that we still need to deal with on this issue, but we have to thank you very much for your time. Mr. Alfred Ononugo is a security expert. Thank you so much for your time, as well as the former DIG Operations of the Nigeria Police, Joshua Kabila. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time.